Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Trebas Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Hospitality workers in San Diego could see significant wage increases over the next few years. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. The City Council is expected to vote on an ordinance tomorrow to raise their minimum wage to $25 an hour. KPBS reporter Jacob Ayer breaks down the arguments for and against the proposal.
If the City Council passes the ordinance, thousands of workers at large hotels, SeaWorld, and event centers like Balboa Park could see their paychecks increase starting next year.
The workers who generate all of those profits are really struggling to live here in San Diego. Many of them are having to make decisions about whether they're going to pay their rent or buy groceries.
Bridget Browning is president of Unite Here Local 30, a union that represents hotel and food service workers. She says many hospitality workers in the city make close to the current minimum wage of $17.25 an hour.
We think that this will help raise the floor for them. It's certainly still not enough to live in a very expensive region, but I think it will help ease the lives of them and their families.
The minimum wage increases would be phased over 4 years. Beginning July 1st, 2026, workers at hotels and amusement parks will start earning $19 an hour. On that same day, workers at event centers will start making just over $21 an hour. Both groups would reach the $25 minimum wage by July 1st, 2030. Former City Council member Chris Cate is now president and CEO of the San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce.
We're opposed to it, and we believe that it's the wrong approach to target a specific industry, especially one that's so vital to our regional economy.
The San Diego Tourism Authority says the hospitality industry supported more than 1 in 8 jobs in San Diego last year. Cate expects the ordinance to pass. He says it could lead to increases in prices and job cuts.
The small businesses that are attached to hotels and entertainment centers throughout San Diego are the ones that are going to bear the brunt of this, and that will ultimately be passed on to San Diegans.
The city's current minimum wage is greater than state and federal minimum wages. But city leaders who support the ordinance point out it's not enough to afford San Diego's high cost of living. The Massachusetts Institute of Technology Living Wage Calculator shows a single person would need to earn over $30 per hour in San Diego County to properly support themselves while working full-time. Jacob Ayer, KPBS News.
Weather headlines here as we head throughout the next couple of days. Overall, I'm tracking nice weather here as we head throughout the rest of the work week with lots of sunshine. It's also going to remain mild and breezy here as we head into the weekend. I'm also tracking our next chance of rain. Some areas are going to see a lot of that here as we head to the weekend. I'll update that extended forecast coming up.
The San Diego City Council today is voting on new parking fees in Balboa Park. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen says the proposed rates would range from $2.50 per hour to $12 per day.
The council has already adopted a budget that assumes the city will start charging for parking in Balboa Park in October. City staff say the fees will help manage parking demand and provide a sustainable revenue source for park maintenance and operations. But the vast majority of public testimony has been in opposition to the plan.
Balboa Park is a cultural destination and an economic driver for our city. It must remain accessible to residents and visitors alike if it is to thrive and if the city is to achieve the revenue that it seeks.
The mayor's office proposes keeping free parking for those who work and volunteer in the park. Everyone else would pay varying rates. Lots shown here in blue would cost $12 per day, or $6 for city residents. Lots shown in green and yellow would cost $6 for all visitors. The lot in yellow would also be free for 2 hours. Several students from San Diego High School told the council they park in Balboa Park to attend school.
Students need access to free parking at Inspiration because we have so many students that drive to school in order to access their education.
A group of 3 city council members on Monday announced an alternative to the mayor's proposal. They say it would offer more discounts to city residents while still achieving the paid parking program's overall goals. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
Also this week, the San Diego City Council will take steps to fill several open positions on the city's Police Oversight Board. The council will consider appointments to the Commission on Police Practices. The commission was created when voters approved a ballot measure in 2020. In recent years, the city has been criticized for not filling vacancies in a timely manner. Advocates say the lack of staffing hobbles the commission's work. There are currently 7 vacant seats. The commission's next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday evening. A Republican school board member in North County is in the spotlight after coming out as transgender. KPBS education reporter Katie Anastas says community members have publicly expressed their opposition and support.
On August 5th, Escondido Union High School District Board member Carol Durney introduced herself during roll call.
I was elected to this board in November 2014 as Bill Durney and re-elected in 2018 and 2022. This year, I have come out as a transgender woman, and I have changed my name to Carol Durney.
The road to this moment began in April 2023. Durney had a stroke. It took out part of her vision on her right side.
But it also kind of changed my attitude. It kind of like woke me up and said, yo, you better start living. This could have killed you.
It also broke her lifelong habit of biting her nails. Durney's wife invited her to get a manicure and pedicure with her. That's where Durney first tried nail polish.
I put nail polish on, it lit me up. It was like magic. I couldn't believe it. And yet, I mean, it was like magic. It was just like the best thing ever.
Durney's wife died suddenly last year. A month later, when she was cleaning their house, Durney decided to try on a dress.
And as I put it on, I just completely broke down. There is so much joy and happiness and love that I felt just putting on clothes. It was unbelievable what I was feeling.
She came out to her kids and her church community. She told the school district superintendent and her fellow board members. At last month's meeting, 8 of the 10 people who spoke during public comment called for Durney to step down.
You have psychological and mental issues when you want to pretend to be something that you will never be. You are a man, and I'm sure a fine one. But this is an abomination.
The voters voted for you as a man, and now you have become a fraud trying to become something that you are not.
Durney says she won't step down. She plans to run for re-election before her term ends next December.
I've got my signs from the last time I ran, and I'm going to put a little pink Carol over the name Bill on the signs and put them back out there.
Durney is a registered Republican. She says she led the Escondido Republican Club a decade ago. She's not happy with the Trump administration, especially its treatment of trans people. But she says she still has mostly conservative beliefs.
I may look a little different, and yes, I've got some new experiences that, will help shape my views, but I'm still the same person I was. Maybe just a little different.
This month's school board meeting was standing room only. The majority of speakers were there to support Durney and to denounce the previous month's comments.
Carol, we do see you, and we support you 100% on your new life journey.
Some speakers questioned why other school board members didn't speak up during the August meeting. Heather Smith teaches at Orange Glen High School and leads the Gay Straight Alliance there.
As adults, we need to model appropriate behavior and respectful language. We do not allow hate speech to be used on our campuses. We write referrals if there is hate speech on our campus. Why would we allow it in our boardroom?
At the end of the meeting, board member Christy Knight said, "Silence does not mean agreement."
I have sat through years working for other elected officials that have been attacked. Horrible things have been said about them and their children, and it's horrible to sit by and not be able to say anything or defend them. This person I have served with for almost 13 years is my friend.
I'm still a Republican. I didn't become a Democrat because of this.
Durney says she left this month's meeting feeling much better than she had last month.
There were people from my church there and other churches, but there were also teachers and educators. There were parents speaking up. There were community members, community leaders. It was more of a representation of what I think Escondido does support.
She's ready to bring back the focus to her priorities for the district. Increasing trades courses, improving math scores, and giving English language learners the support they need.
I'm not at the point where I've actually got any kind of ideas about doing anything different. For now, I mean, I'm just looking to get back to the board meetings and not have a whole bunch of people there talking about me, and let's get back to the role of governing.
By next month's board meeting, she expects her nameplate in the boardroom to read Carol. Katie Anastas, KPBS News.
The city of Oceanside is being sued after reversing itself last month and approving a controversial warehouse project. KPBS North County reporter Alexander Wynn has more on why the suit is being filed now.
I mean, there's barely enough room for two cars. It's very small.
Michael Modelo lives on the hills overlooking where the Eddie Jones warehouse project is going to be built. The proposed project is nearly 500,000 square feet with 4 separate buildings and a total of 28 semi-truck bays. It's smaller than the original plan, which called for 114 bays. But still, Modelo is concerned about the pollution and traffic congestion, especially during wildfire evacuations.
The problem for me is traffic, and really traffic as it impacts safety. Not just pollution, but fire evacuation and egress and ingress in case of an emergency.
Her neighborhood was evacuated during a wildfire in June 2022, so she is concerned about how the added traffic from the warehouse would impact evacuation. The warehouse project was actually denied back in May, but the city council reversed itself in August. And that's why the city is being sued.
Our aim in filing the lawsuit is to improve the project analysis.
Aria Suprono is an attorney with the nonprofit Advocates for the Environment. The group is suing Oceanside, alleging that the city failed to sufficiently address greenhouse gas emissions in its review, which is a violation of CEQA, or the California Environmental Quality Act.
Because CEQA is not just procedural, it also has substantive requirements. It does impose mitigation for any significant impacts that are found after a careful analysis is done. So our lawsuit is solely focused on this greenhouse gas impact.
This is the site of the Eddie Jones project. The group says the lawsuit isn't intended to stop the project, but rather to make sure that it conforms with CEQA.
It was kind of like a gift, really.
Modelo and her group Oceanside Speaks Out is not a party to the lawsuit, but she says she's pleasantly surprised by it. She isn't entirely opposed to the idea of an industrial warehouse in the area. She just wants it scaled down to what the area was zoned for.
The entire parcel of land can have only 6 heavy trucks on the premises at one time.
The city declined to comment because of the pending litigation. Alexander Nguyen, KPBS News.
I'm Amna Nawaz. Tonight on the NewsHour, Secretary of State Marco Rubio stands with Israel's plan to end the war in Gaza using the military rather than diplomacy. It's coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
The next few nights will include closures for busy freeway connector in Kearney Mesa. California Highway Patrol says the closures are planned for northbound State Route 163 to westbound State Route 52. Construction will impact the connector from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m., and that starts tonight. Closures are expected during the same overnight hours through Thursday. Public meetings in 2 local cities tomorrow will focus on banning e-bike use by kids under the age of 12. Rising e-bike accidents are causing alarm, and Chula Vista has already passed an ordinance to set the age limit. Carlsbad will hold a meeting on whether it should do the same.
Then why would you allow a 7, 8-year-old to travel 20 miles an hour next to a 3,000-pound car?
Chula Vista Councilman Michael Nzunza said during his campaign for city council, use of e-bikes was the #1 concern among residents he spoke with. Nzunza says tomorrow's public meeting is to educate the public and talk about how the new rule will be enforced, which he says will largely be left up to police.
They'll have discretion, but the reality is an 8-year-old is not going to be ticketed. That what they do is the punishment is mom or dad.
He says the police can ticket parents up to $250 and in some cases seize and impound the e-bike. The law takes effect on December 3rd. Renewable energy is powering Southern California's newest passenger train. Over the weekend, the hydrogen-powered car made its debut. Joy Benedict got an early look at the technology that's the first of its kind in the U.S.
It's a sound synonymous with travel, but what you hear on the train and what it leaves behind is changing.
I think that's super cool. Less pollution.
As the newest technology on the track is opening its door to passengers this weekend.
We are inside the new, what we call ZEMU.
A zero-emissions, hydrogen-powered passenger train, a first to ever hit the rails in North America.
It uses a hybrid hydrogen fuel cell battery technology for its propulsion, and it only emits water vapor.
Tim Watkins is the chief of legislative affairs for the San Bernardino County Transportation Authority, which has been working on this project for 6 years.
This idea was born out of just a need for SBCTA to provide a quality transportation project while addressing the air quality.
The train was manufactured by the European company Stadler, and it first shipped to Colorado for testing.
This vehicle set a world record for distance traveled on one fueling. Literally ran for 46 hours without having to refuel.
It arrived in San Bernardino last summer, where it spent another year being tested at signals and riding the rails at night when the tracks were empty.
A lot of that testing is designed to test the communication systems with the crossings, to make sure all the lighting and signal work is effective.
But now ZEMU is ready to roll in prime time, taking over starting Saturday on the 9-mile route between San Bernardino and Redlands, aimed at reducing pollution.
It's quality of life aspects for people who live here in San Bernardino County, especially those who live near the corridor that it runs upon.
So not only is this new train good for the environment, but it also is good for the passenger. It has a state-of-the-art interior, offers free Wi-Fi, and get this, free charging at every seat. The high-tech rail car does come at a cost, $20 million to be exact, double the price of a standard train.
It is more expensive to be first, but in this county it was important that we look for clean solutions, and so we thought the investment was important.
Making it the newest and cleanest ride on rails.
And that was Joy Benedict reporting. A major airline is changing a policy that affects flyers who use battery-powered wheelchairs. Southwest says it will soon require lithium batteries to be removed from wheelchairs before they are checked. The battery will have to be carried on to the plane. Southwest is a major carrier at San Diego International. The airline says it is following FAA guidance on lithium batteries, which suggests they can be a fire hazard. The new battery policy for wheelchairs begins September 25th. The airport will welcome flights to its new Terminal 1 later this week. The project features some features intended to boost sustainability. This week's opening will conclude a 4-year construction project. The airport says it cost $3.8 billion. Kara Nager is the manager of environment programs at the airport, and she described how sustainable materials were used in the construction.
So these beams right here, the design incorporated a steel bracing system that was really incorporated to reduce the amount of steel that was needed in the building as a whole. It reduced our embodied carbon by 30%, and it also resulted in a savings of $58 million.
And she says another energy-saving feature is a new fueling system for planes that eliminates the need for fuel trucks and helps reduce emissions.
I'm tracking a nice stretch of weather here as we head into the weekend, but there was also going to be some pretty good rain chances as well, detail coming up. But in the meantime, as we head into tonight, I'm tracking low clouds, Near the coast, overnight temperatures will be a mix of upper 60s, and overall it's going to be a nice start here for your early Tuesday. Across the rest of the region, we'll see temperatures dipping into the low 60s there for Oceanside and Camp Pendleton. A little bit of a cooler start here for some areas. The closer you get to the coastal areas, the more cloud coverage we'll see as the sun comes up, but overall we're going to be seeing lots of clearing here by about midday. 9 a.m. there will be some cloud coverage there, barely offshore, but overall not going to make much as far as an impact on the forecast. That cloud coverage will slowly work its way to the north, so there along the F5 we will be watching out for some cloud coverage. Now I also want to point out there's a very low chance here during the late afternoon hours, 5-6 p.m. We could see some showers off to the south and off to the southeast, but overall the organized chance of rain looks like it's going to remain relatively low, and the good chances of rain are going to stay across the Rockies here as we head throughout your Tuesday into Wednesday. So here's the overall setup for your Tuesday. Warming conditions here overall across the coastal areas. We'll see some nice weather, but most of the interior is going to see those temperatures really starting to warm up. Temperature-wise, you can see that. We'll see temperatures back in the triple digits there for the deserts. 80s and 90s here, a little bit warmer there as you go along the interior. 85 for Oceanside and Camp Pendleton, 82 downtown San Diego. Overall, pretty nice forecast. On Wednesday, still tracking warming conditions, but look at that. Slowly starting to see some rainfall in the forecast as we head into Wednesday. And as we head to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we're going to be seeing increasing tropical moisture, and that's what's going to bring that really good chance of rainfall here to the region. So we'll be tracking that very closely. Coast-to-coast forecast, or coastal forecast, I should say. Best chance of rain will be on Wednesday with temperatures in the 80s. Tracking lots of sunshine there for the inland forecast. And then across the mountains, we'll see temperatures dipping into the 50s by Friday. And then across the desert, look at that. We'll see temperatures in the triple digits Tuesday before we dip back into the 90s heading into the weekend.
There are plenty of ways to volunteer at the Birch Aquarium, but did you know scuba divers can also lend a hand, or in this case it would be a fin? They clean the tanks, they feed the fish, and teach visitors about our oceans. For Public Matters Everyday Heroes series, KPBS's Laura McCaffrey dove into a day in the life of a volunteer diver.
My favorite part about scuba is the sort of peaceful feeling when you go down underwater. It's not quiet, you know, the ocean's actually a pretty loud place, but the sounds just totally wrap around you and you feel like you're in a different world. There's all kinds of clicks, and fish actually make lots of sounds, and the sounds of the waves, and sound moves 4 times faster in water than air. So our human brains and ears aren't really tuned to be able to tell the directions. I learned how to scuba the summer after I graduated from high school. It was a gift from my dad. And so my sister and I took lessons together up in Monterey Bay, and it was super cool to get to breathe under there. They kind of have you work up as you go through the volunteer program. So when I started, I was a freshman in college up at UCSD, and then when I was getting my master's degree, I was lucky enough to do a project where I did the Scripps scientific diving course. And once I had that certification, I was eligible to be able to dive in the tanks. Part of the scientific diving course, we do everything from navigation, advanced safety procedures and rescue, doing the equipment underwater, learning to, bring stuff up and down from the bottom safely. This is quite heavy. The whole setup altogether is at least 50 pounds, if not more. Luckily, once we get in the water, we're neutrally weighted, so we just float there. But before that, it is very heavy and cumbersome. So we typically sit on the side of the dive box here, and we'll flip our feet over and then get ready in the dive box so that we can then just swim directly out into the tank.
Garibaldi has made a west nest now. Oh. So you guys shouldn't have to worry when you're over here, but on the west side now, he has been coming out to give a little bit of territorialism to the awesome nest that he built. Keep your eyes out for the scorpion fish that are still on the bottom, those blind California moray eels, and in general, all the fish that are swimming around you. I'm still looking for zip tie fish. Find them. Oh, there's a zip tie right at the bottom where you would be cleaning, can you pick it up and bring it back? Awesome. You guys have any residual nitrogen I should worry about? You ready for some scuba? Yes. All right, please do a buddy check and keep an eye on each other on the bottom.
There's always 2 divers in the tank for safety, and the second one, their job is to siphon along the floor. And I love doing that because you just get to go clean the tank, but you have time to stop and look at the fish and say hi to them, and it's kind of a relaxed job. One person feeds, cleans the window, does the show, and the backup diver is sort of cleaning and making sure that all around the back of the tank is clean, and most importantly, keeping an eye on their buddy. Feeding is fun, but it takes your full concentration because they're swarming all around you. When I first started doing it, I was nervous, and my mom told me to just pretend that they were little puppies. So in my head, that's what I do. I just pretend they're little puppies, like, oh, you're so cute. And I've continued volunteering here because it keeps me connected to this community. The aquarium is part of Scripps Institution of Oceanography. I guess the other reason I'm really passionate about coming here is that it's a way for the general public and a lot of tourists who come to San Diego to see what is underwater right off our coast. You know, we could drive down the hill right now and go to the beach, and most people see what's on the surface. And here you get a glimpse of these fish that are in the water every day, all day, while we're going to work and school, doing their thing. And it helps remind people, hey, all this stuff is right here. We should appreciate it, go see it, and do what we can to protect it and keep our oceans and our beaches clean and healthy.
And that story was produced by Laura McCaffrey and video journalist Carolyn Corrales for the Public Matters Everyday Heroes series. You can find more stories just like that one at kpbs.org/volunteer. Here is another look at today's top story. Hospitality workers in the city of San Diego could see significant wage increases over the next few years. The city council is expected to vote on an ordinance tomorrow to gradually raise their minimum wage to $25 per hour by July 1st of 2030. The city's current minimum wage is $17.25 an hour. If the ordinance is approved, workers at hotels, amusement parks, and event centers would see their first pay increase July 1st, 2026. Here's a look at what we have for you for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom on NPR's Morning Edition. How President Trump is trying to reshape the leadership of the Federal Reserve ahead of a key vote this week on interest rates. And KPBS Midday Edition is recognizing Mexican Independence Day on tomorrow's show. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Enjoy your evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.